What is up, folks? This is J.R.R, and I would like to do some questing in TolkienCraft today. So I do want to do these pretty soon. I don't know if we'll get to it today, but it will be within the next couple episodes because these really need to be upgraded because while I could make, and usually do, just make a ton of them because you used to not be able to upgrade them at all. Um, we can now, so we don't really need to make a ton of them. And I would like to upgrade these from the basic to a higher tier. So, and play around with the upgrades because it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Alright, but for now, Questbook. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. Alright, so we've got all of these completed. I haven't gone into the magics yet. I really want to, but we've got so much stuff that we're working on right now. And I would like to make the magics in all of the area over there. The magic mods are going to be based in this area. And I'd like to finish my bridge and build, some other stuff over there so I have room to explore, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be working on that, just not quite yet. Alright, so what else have we got? Let's go ahead and back up. Age of Industry. I'm not really going to get into these mods quite yet. I do want to get some of these set up, but some of these cocoa machines here. But, well, yeah. I guess I could just make these by themselves. It doesn't really take much. We did make some back here, the coke oven bricks, but yeah, we've got a lot of power going on right now. I would like to increase that, but it's not necessary at this point. I'm not, I don't have a quarry going at the moment, so there's not really a big drain on my power. It's really just the AE system, and that's pretty much it. So, not a big deal. Now, I do want to fill that thing up, but, I'll give myself a break and say, you can do it over time. You don't have to do it right now. Alrighty. So, let's go ahead and take a look at making the world better. And now these are all pretty low-tech stuff, it seems like. Let's say this is part of Chisel. This is part of Bibliocraft. Don't know what that's part of. This is part of Carpenter's Blocks. And I don't know what these are part of. I think this is Chisel as well. And I have no idea what that is. I'm really curious. So I do want to do this, and we'll do that pretty soon. But I would like to go back, since we have already started on doing this stuff, we'll do this first and then we'll move on to making the world better. So far we have done these two. I'm pretty sure I've already done this. Yeah, I can't claim it, so that one is already complete. Now, in the beginning, now I should have everything here in this bag right here. I broke my barrel over here using the hammer that we made a few episodes ago, and I switched over to making these resonant crates here, or caches, because these are just much easier to make, and even though they're more expensive on items, I mean, the other takes so many, pieces of wood and pistons that these are just much simpler to make, and they actually store more than these things do. Alright, so we've got a storage upgrade, we've got the better barrel, and I think we need the Mark 1 for this quest. So, structural 1, storage upgrade, yep. Alright, so let's go ahead and manually... Oh, so we need 2 of each of them. Okay, so that's going to make things a little more complicated, but you guys will at least get to see me make those. Alright, so let's do Java. Alright, so to make a better barrel, you just need some wood, a slab, and a chest. Not too difficult. Okay, and we need another Mark 1 upgrade, which is going to take some fences and some wood. So again, alright, I will not use those because we've got so much fir wood. Oops. Fence. that it would be just a little bit silly to use that. All right. So, and we also need a storage upgrade, sticker, which is going to take another better barrel and 2 pistons. So as you can see, this starts to get pretty expensive because, well, you need the better barrel, which takes all those logs and the chest, and then you need the pistons, and to get the next tier upgrade, you need 3 of those, and then you need 3 of those to make that one. And then, so you're getting, it actually says how many you need. So the highest tier, you can get up to the 243, which is going to take 486 pistons. So, and a lot of wood. So it can get kind of expensive really quick. So I just prefer to use the resonant because it's just so much easier to store it. All right, so let's go ahead and make another one of these. Okay, and we'll toss it in there. And we need to make 2 pistons. I actually might have the pistons. I do have the pistons. I actually had exactly 2. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn these in as well. 100%. And that gives us a dolly. And an inscriber silicon press, which I don't actually need, but that's okay. We'll just toss that in here. There is one that I still need, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. I don't know. It might be not found in the meteorites. I guess they're meteorites since they're grounded, not in the air or burning in the atmosphere. But these dollies are kind of cool because while they slow you down immensely, kind of like that bedrockium ingot did to us, you can carry around a full barrel. So you use the dolly on a barrel and you can cart it around wherever you want. So that's kind of cool. And just goes. There we go. By the way, this is part of the Draconic Evolution mod. You can press P to place it on a wall. Place anything on a wall. So that's kind of cool. Or on the floor, like I have the, I think is it a pickaxe or a sword? Oh, it's a mattock. Okay. So I just placed that beside the bed. The reason I did that, well, I think it's actually kind of cool to say, hey, I've got this weapon beside my bed because it can be used as a weapon as well as a pickaxe. I mean, not a pickaxe, what are they called? I can't believe I can't think of what they're called. A hoe. There you go. You can use them as an axe or a hoe or a weapon because they hit for like 8 damage, I think. So that's not too bad. But I had this problem where I was AFK over here. Zombie came in, killed me. Of course, everything was in my gravestone there. I couldn't get past the zombie. Well, I mean, I ran past it and ran downstairs and got a weapon. But, I was thinking, well, if I'm going to pop up here and I died in here, I need something to protect myself with. So might as well put that there. All right, so let's go ahead and see what's in this good bag. Awesome. Now, you may be thinking, well, why is that awesome? That's just because I've been looking for some decoration stuff. It's not the exact decoration stuff that I was really wanting because this is all pretty cheap stuff to make. But it does save us some time and materials and, whatnot. I was going to put this in my bag, but I guess I can put it in here for now. I mean, not my bag, my Draconic Evolution storage chest. So, with all of the other building supplies that I have. Alright, so, what have we got next? Let's see. Questbook. Now, let's do... say this is the one that we did then. Let's do moving right along. Now, we've made most of this stuff in the past, but it's a manual submit, so we don't have it now. We have not made... Alright, see. It's just taking 8 of these. Okay, and 2 of the item translocators. Okay. So we're going to need a transfer node and a transfer node for liquid. So let's just start there. Alright, so let's go down here. And let's go ahead and type in extra util. Okay, so it all should be right here. So let's go ahead and make the transfer node and make sure and not do the retrieval node. Alright, so transfer node, okay, that's not too bad. And it's going to take, okay, so what do we have? The smooth stone? Okay. You know what? Let's go ahead and just toss a couple stacks in the oven over here. Like so and like so. That way, I do have a little bit that's in the chest that's way over there by the bridge. But you might as well just go ahead and do that because I'm going to need more later anyway. So, and I'll use the ender pearl one because, again, why not? And I'll definitely use these transfer nodes later and making other things. All right, so we also need one for liquids, and that takes an ender pearl. And I actually have more ender pearls right now than I do, well, okay, I don't actually have more ender pearls than redstone, but I'm using the redstone more than the ender pearls. So if you get exactly what I mean there. All right, so we got that. Now we need to make some of these transfer pipes. Now we need 8 of them, so it's going to take a full recipe, which again, no problem. Just some slabs, some glass, redstone. We've made these before. It's been a while, but we did that quite a while back. All right. Now, what else was it we needed? We needed one more thing. We needed item translocators. Okay. So it doesn't look like they're right here. Let's go ahead and take a look. We've got all these different drums. We might just need to type in the translocator because finding it in 32 pages may or may not be difficult. Okay, so we see it right here. What's this one? Item transport pipe. Okay. So again, that's not too bad, and it makes 2. So what did we have in the middle there? We needed a piston. So let's go ahead and, oh well. I wish we could replace, say, hey, use this wood and not this wood. And I'm actually kind of surprised. The silverwood planks are being done in front of these. All right, those are 1930 and 1960, or 730 and 1962. Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised the fir ones aren't being used before, but interesting. Okay, so did I actually make those pistons? Okay, I did. I didn't remember making them, so I was like, well, did I actually do that or not? I don't know. All right, so manual submit, 100% on all of them. A logic press, which I have, but that's okay. And some ender pearls, which are always welcome. So, there we go. And we just got more ender pearls back than we used in making this stuff, so I got a net gain there. Alright, so let's go ahead and toss that stuff in here, and that as well. And we'll use those later, but how many times have I gotten this one? I don't know. I've gotten so many of these shards. And like I've said before, don't get me wrong, they're nice to have, but I would like other stuff. I'd just like to get some other stuff. That's it. That's all. Nothing much. All right. So we're finding the way, and I would explain this stuff, but it's pretty self-explanatory on what it does. So just moving items along and liquids and all that kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and read this quest text if you haven't already read it. So, okay, so you've started storing, but how to move it? Fun fact, translocators work really well with ME interfaces. It makes for very interesting remote access or automation possibilities. And yes, I do. There's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do with that. And believe me, we will. Because automation to me is a lot of fun. So, alright, we're finding the way. I said one junk drawer. All right, barrels are good when it is a single item. What about if you have a lot of multiple items? Okay, yet another example of functional and decorative. Very true. Okay, so we need to make some oak drawers. We need to make an upgrade template, and we need to make a storage upgrade too. Okay, so let's take a look and see what this is all about. And we'll get a calculation press, some smart cable, flukes, and a bag, of course. All right, so let's go ahead and type in drawer and see what comes up. All right, so this is the one that we need, the 4 oak drawers. Okay, so this should be easy enough to make. All right, we'll do this like so, and it looks like we don't actually have any oak. So we've got some wood here. And I do want to specifically make the oak ones and not the rest of them because it might not detect that we have the alternate form. instead of, if we make the jungle wood per se, even though I don't think I have any jungle wood, it might not register in the quest log that we have what we need. So let's go ahead and make specifically the oak ones and do like so. Okay. All right, so we've got the oak drawers. We've got all 4 of them. We need an upgrade template and storage upgrade 2. So let's go ahead and take a look and just see what these look like on the ground. Okay, so it basically looks exactly like the other ones that we made and put in the other room. Hopefully this is gonna actually break and give me it back. Okay, good. I was kind of worried it was, since it was breaking so slowly, that it would break and not give me anything back at all. But yeah, so it looks like the compact oak drawers that we made earlier. So we have in here, right in the other room, right there. But they're a full block and they hold 4s instead of just 2 stacks. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the storage upgrade 2 and see what that is. All right, so we need an upgrade template to do that. So let's go ahead and look at this. All right, looks like we need oak drawers 1x2 to make this. Is there one? Interesting. But it doesn't actually give us more. I wonder what the pattern is for it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Just because it's a little bit cheaper. Okay, so let's do that. We'll do the upgrade template. This one, like so. And we'll go ahead and just do both of them. And we need to make this, which is going to take one of these. Okay. So I believe that should be everything that we need. Yep, we just need one of those and we need 2 of these. All right, so manual submit. And let's go ahead and pick the right one this time. Cool. So we've got our calculation press, our cables, and we get a greater reward for this one. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, so 8 large bloodstone, 8 weak blood shards, and 16 diamonds. Okay, I'll take that. I'm not sure exactly what these are used for, but, having mod items is always nice because that'll help us get started when we get to that. Okay, let's toss all you in there. All right, so let's see what else we got. Looks like we need to do refining relocation. All right, so all these chests and barrels running back and forth, putting everything away. Rearranging it, there has to be a better way. Okay, so it's saying, I didn't really get that while I was reading. So the way I read it was that the barrels were running back and forth, not you were running back and forth between the barrels. I was like, I don't get it. Why are the barrels moving? Okay, so best part is all the linking blocks can be disguised. Cool. So sorting upgrade and sorting upgrade. So we need one for a chest and one for a barrel. We can do that. Okay, and for that we get a advanced block extender, export buses and import buses, which are always nice. Okay, so let's take a look at what we need. So I'll just type in upgrade. Hopefully we don't get too many pages of that. All right, so we need one of these. Oh, that's real simple. Okay, and we need one of these, which again, really simple. All right, so I should have everything I need already in there. So let's take this. Ta-da! Okay, upgrades chest to their sorting version. Needs 2 items of the chest material. Okay, and these. Okay. And what these do is they allow chests to act as ME chests, basically. So if I put certain items in that chest, and they will go ahead and pipe whatever is similar to that item from other chests into that chest. So basically it's an ME chest that has been specified to have those certain items. So those are actually really, really cool, and We might use them. I'm not really sure that we will, because we have these, and those are a very, very early game solution. So I don't know. As far as the ductwork that we'll use, if we need to transfer items by themselves, like outside of the AE cables or ME cables, we'll use the translocation mod to do that, because their pipes work pretty much like thermal expansions used to. And I assume they will again once we get that mod. But yeah. So there's all kinds of other upgrades that you can do for these things. It's kind of cool. 3 times, 5 times, 8 times space value, 13 times. Cool. But we'll probably use that kind of stuff for more of the way, use it for decoration more than anything. I might use this kind of stuff over in the magic area, because I don't want to have a lot of visible technology in that. Like, I want to put a bunch of farms and magic mod buildings over in that area, and I want this to be the technology area. Now, that may have a bit of tech in it too, but I want to keep it out of the way, out of sight. So yeah, I just want to keep the area separate because I think that would be fun. Alright, so let's go ahead and I put these back in here. Alright, so let's do up, put those out. It's a quest book, manual submit, and we'll do the right one again, claim reward. And that gives us the advanced block extender. Okay, so again, a greater reward bag. Oh wow, okay. So actually this is going to be helpful, because I wanted to make a pedestal with each of like the armors and the weapons and all that kind of stuff in a room or a hall where I'm showing off all the different mod stuff that we've made. So that's going to be kind of cool, because it takes, one of each of these things to do the upgraded version. So I'm actually kind of happy to get this kind of stuff. So I'm going to put these away real quick and do a couple of other things, and then we'll get right back to it. So I'll be back in a second. Alrighty folks, so we are back and we are ready to continue along the line. Now we are starting to get into the AE stuff. Alright, so Ultimate Storage 1. You've used wood, iron, and various other materials for storage. Time for the ultimate in storage technology. Fun fact. This mod and add-ons may not fit the feel of this pack, but they are the favorites of the author, which is why they were included. Which, yeah, I was kind of wondering about that, to be honest, because they really don't. And they're more of a high-tech mod, which is something that I know the author has kind of stayed away from. But it's also one of my favorites, so I was really happy when I saw that it was in here, because I love Applied Energistics. I've said before, it's one of my favorite mods, so I was really, really happy that they included it. Alright, so they're wanting a 64K ME storage component. So this is going to take some doing, but I think we can do it. And this will probably be the last quest, because I imagine this one's going to take a little while to do. So let's go ahead and delve into Applied Energistics. So Applied, let's do this, just to take out anything else that may be there. Alright, so we're going to need to make some 1Ks, we're going to need to make some 4Ks, some 16Ks, and finally we'll get up to this one. Now, if you're making a lot of drives, this is the first thing that you're going to want to automate. And it's probably going to be one of the first things that we're going to do within the crafting system that Applied Energistics has. So, but for now, we'll do it manually. Alright, so for each of these, it's going to take, and again, I'm doing a stupid thing and I'm going to do some math. Alright, so for this one, we're going to need 3 of these, which is in turn going to take, alright, so the 16Ks. Alright, so we're going to need 3 16Ks, which means we're going to need, that's per 16K, it's going to take 3 of the 4Ks. So we've got what, 3 per each, so we're going to have 9 so far. And then that's going to take, what is that, 27? I hope that's right. I don't know how many logic processors I have in here right now. I wish there was a way to get a half a stack. I know there's a way to get a full stack. I do it all the time. But I wish there was a way to do half. Okay, so we don't have enough for that. We should have enough of the pure Certus quartz crystals. I've got 439 of them, so that shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so we're going to need some more logic circuits. So let's go ahead and get the inscriber logic press out and some gold as well. Alright, so let's grab some gold. Okay, so inscriber. Okay. Is that the right one? I think that's what it said. Yeah, inscriber. Okay. It looks a lot like... Oh, silicon press. They're all inscribers. Duh. Okay, so logic press is what we're needing. I was like, that looks like the silicon one. What is going on here? Okay, so logic press. How about that? Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And it stops right there. And let's put that in there. And I guess I actually didn't need to do that. Okay, so it looks like this is not hooked up with power. Okay. So we've got it on so many sides that it's just not powering it because, well, I guess that's just going to be the way it works. Alright, so let's go ahead and make something else. We're going to need one of these, and you'll see why in a second. So let's go ahead and make a toggle bus, which we're going to need, where'd it go? Let's make a lever, and then we'll make a toggle bus, and then I'm going to need a cable. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put that right there. And actually there's another way that I could have done that, but I didn't. So we're just going to have to do it like this. Alright, so once we have a bunch of these made up, then I will be back with you guys. So, be back in a second. Okie dokie, folks. So let's go ahead and see if we have enough. I think we do, but I'm not positive. So let's go ahead and try at least. Alright, so I went ahead and made a bunch of 1Ks. So let's go ahead and see. Oh, I need some quartz glass. You know, I don't think I have that much. Yeah. Crap. Alright, so let's go ahead and throw... I'll do 2 stacks. And the reason... Yeah, I know I have more of this one, so theoretically I should be able to, I mean, should be using the Certus quartz, you know, more to balance out the numbers. But the nether quartz is so much easier to get that I should just be using the nether quartz to grind down into the dust. It's just much easier to gather up because the white stands out so much against the red. And the fact that so much of the nether is already hollowed out, I can just, you know, go along and mine up anything that's on the surface and get a ton of this stuff really quickly. Whereas the Certus quartz, I have to, you know, really, really hunt to find it. So, yeah. So that is why I am using that one instead of the other. Alright, so let's go ahead and make some more of this. And let's just make as much as we can. So 28. Alright, so that'll get us a little ways at least. So let's go ahead and put this in, and let's see how many we can make. We can only make 4, because we need more of these processors, which I thought I had a bunch more of. I guess I've got the other one, and not this one. Okay, so I will be back in a second when I've made these up, because these take a little while to do. Okay, folks, I figured you'd want to see the first time that I had screwed this up. So, yes, it was on 9x9 mode. And yes, it broke all kinds of crap. Alright, so, yeah. In addition to making this, I will be back in a moment. Alrighty, folks, so let's see how far we can get now. I don't know that we're going to be able to get all the way, but if we can't, then I will just do it off camera and show you the end result, because it takes a lot of time for this thing to process as much as it needs just to process. So, alrighty, so let's go ahead and do these, and yeah, don't think that's going to be enough. Let's see. Alright, so then we need to do this one, which is like so. And actually, you know what? It is going to be enough, and we're even going to have 3 extras. So actually, let's go ahead and do that. And like that. And that's going to get us our 64K. And we're going to have an extra 16K, which is really nice. So, let's go ahead and take a look at this. And I'm trying really hard not to sneeze, but... oh goodness, I'm sorry about that. That hurt. Whenever I sneeze, it's like every single muscle in my body is involved. So it's a really hard, deep sneeze, which is very, very painful. I don't know if any of you have that kind of problem. I'm envious of you, those of you who don't. Alright, so we've got this. Fortunately, it's a manual submit, but we do get a 64K storage cell in return, so it's a little bit, you know, we get some iron and glass and stuff like that. So, alright, let's take the right one. And we've got our storage cell, so let's go ahead and just pop it in there. It's not going to be doing anything, but oh well, that's fine. So this one is an epic one. That is not an epic reward. Even though, I don't know why this has such a low % chance to get, because the armor is really not that good. So it's like, why are you there? Granted, it's pretty enchantable, but whatever. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back in here. And actually, that's going to be the end of the episode, now that I think about it. We'll go ahead and take a look at the next quest, which is going to be a 64K ME fluid storage component. So, and we're going to get, of course, the same over here. So, let's go ahead and read this. Tanks of all shapes and sizes. Nothing beats a single location to store all your liquids. Fun fact, Extra Cells was created because fluid storage was not ever going to be added to AE. So, Applied Energistics. Then it never was because of this add-on. Okay, so it's just, that's a little awkwardly phrased, but it's just saying that Applied Energistics wasn't going to include fluid storage, but they decided they definitely weren't going to do it after this add-on was made, so that's interesting. Alright, so next time we will do that, and I'm pretty sure that is a spatial storage unit, which I've mentioned before, I don't think we're really going to be using too much, but we might. Who knows? We might do something interesting, like make a building and surround it by the storage, whatchamacallits, pylons. There we go. The spatial pylons. I know they're in here somewhere, but I'm just not seeing them at the moment. But yeah, we might use the spatial pylons to, say, have something, you know, a building that we can just carry along with us, which would be kind of cool. And be kind of a hassle, but I don't know. That might be neat. But anyway, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day.